Well, hi guys. I'm kind of excited for this week actually because we're going to be getting a chance to review the skills that we practiced last week. Sorry, the cat jumped in. Jenkins. So last week we learned how to multiply with decimals. And like always, we talked about estimating before we solve to see if we know where the decimal goes without even applying any strategy. And you could do that. Although when we're multiplying decimals, we want you to remember that you do not have to line those decimals up. It'll make your math go faster if you don't. And remember, our little strategy is to count over spaces. And so I start on the right and I hop over until I land on a decimal. In my factors, I have 2 hops. So in my answer or my product, I'm going to need 2 hops. And as I look at my final answer, I see it's pretty darn close to my estimate. And so that is a reasonable place for that decimal to live. And then we also explored doing multiplication with a decimal model. Remember, we talked about in 5th grade, the multiplication you'll see on standardized tests is going to look like this. Not as much like that 6th grade algorithm that we just showed you. Although many kids are going to think the 6th grade algorithm is easier, and it's a great way to check these models. So I remember the difference between a penny and a dime. So I know that I have 9 hundredths in my groups, and I can look at the different colors to see that I have 4 equal groups. Remember, multiplication is just repeated addition. And my total or my product is going to be 36, but not 36 wholes, 36 pennies. And that is how it is done. I think the biggest trick that kids will get tricked on for this is not remembering that it's 4 whole groups. Sometimes kids get decimal happy and they start putting decimals everywhere. But in this case, we don't need a decimal on our number 4 because we're talking about 4 whole groups. And you can always use your 6th grade algorithm to check that. And then last but not least, those super wacky multiplying a decimal by a decimal. And these take some practice for sure. So first I look to see how much I have shaded vertically, and I've got 1 and 5/10 because yes, I know the difference between a dime and a penny. And I've got 5 whole columns, so I know those are tenths. And then I look at my horizontal shading in blue, and I see that that amount is actually just being considered for 1/10 of the time. And once I see what the overlap is, that's going to be my product. I know these are weird. It actually took me a while to figure these out as an adult. So they're not hard. They're just a little bit strange. And that's why we'll give you lots of practice with it. My overlap is 15 hundredths. And now, as mentioned, I'm going to just use my 6th grade algorithm because these models freak me out and I want to make sure that I have it correct. And I just do my 6th grade and I count over spaces and I take my 2 hops, and lo and behold, my answers match. So all week you can expect a lot of practice with all of those skills that I just reviewed for you, including but not limited to some of these wacky decimal models. And I think it's going to be a nice week because we won't have a lot of new notes and not really a lot of new instruction, but a lot of really good practice. So hope you enjoy it.